A very good morning to you and welcome to the 31st Women's Varsity and the third time Oxford and Cambridge women have met here at Twickenham. Oxford currently lead with 19 wins to Cambridge's 11, going back to 1988, and the Dark Blues also took the spoils last year with a tense 3-0 win. And I can tell you here at Twickenham today, it is drizzly, it is gloomy, it is rainy, and that could have a big impact on the women's match we are about to see. Alongside me watching this one is a former Dark Blue herself, along with her 59 England caps. It is Sue Day. Sue, it's pretty drizzly here, but there will be so much resting on this for these two.
It's not the best rugby conditions, that's for sure, but the two teams won't mind. All they want to do is get out there on the pitch and give it everything they've got.
Well, you can see in the tunnel there, both sides getting ready. Lara Gibson there, the Cambridge captain, just bringing out her squad. And then coming on the other side, the calm face there of Sophie Bean. She'll be leading her team at number 8 this year. She actually used to be a prop before she moved into the back row. It's such a special moment walking out at Twickenham. It's the third time the women have now done it.
Such a special moment. There's nothing quite like it. Running out at the home of rugby, and you've got to be careful as a player. Don't let that get to you too much. You have to milk it, you have to drink it all in, you've got to enjoy the moment, but don't get too carried away. Concentrate on the game.
So here they come out onto the park. Plenty of support for both sides scattered around Twickenham at the moment. There's a few people filtering in, of course. Later on today we will have the men's varsity match. That one coming up at 3 o'clock. But at the moment it's all about the women. And we will now have the national anthem. Both sides will now just have a few moments to compose themselves before this varsity match gets underway. Oxford also need to get their track suits off as well, as you can just see the Cambridge coaching staff just taking their places. Definitely bobble hat weather today here at Twickenham. Let's take a look at the teams then. Oxford head coach then Gary Street. He's going to be looking to the experience of his captain Sophie Bean, and also flanker Caitlin McArdle, also fullback Sophie Trott, because he's got 7 new Blues named in his starting 15 today, including the American touch rugby convert John Dabrowski. She's playing at fly half. Moving on then to Cambridge, and Jack Baird, well, he's got a squad teeming with experience. Captain Lara Gibson has actually moved from the wing to centre. She lines up alongside 19-year-old Mary Coleman, who was the youngest light blue last year, but that title actually goes to Bluebell Nichols in 2017. In the forwards, hooker Jess Gurney, she'll be winning her 5th blue. Well, it will be Oxford who are kicking us off here for the Dark Blues, and our referee for this one is Sarah Toll. She's actually a former Dutch international, and she is very fast going up the ranks in her refereeing career. You can see that, waiting to get us underway. Sophie Trott just taking a big, deep intake of breath, and we'll be talking a lot about the two fullbacks throughout this whole match. So, Dark Blues get us underway then, and it is Kate Marks who gathers then for Cambridge and takes it straight into a bit of dark blue contact. No scrum half then at the moment for Cambridge, and an early mistake there from Oxford, and Cambridge get to clear their lines.
Perhaps nerves getting the better of Oxford. First up, the last thing they want to be doing in this game is giving easy possession away to what has been a pretty dominant Cambridge team this season.
So, Blue
Not the biggest clearance kick there for Cambridge, still stuck down in their own half, but a moment then for Anna Bidgood to show her credentials at hooker. First line-up, nice and clean then for Cambridge, taken nicely in the air by Haste. And the ball goes away down towards the backs. Marks clears it away. Such a tense encounter between these two last year. If you missed it, it was 3-0. Just one penalty, the difference between the two sides. Incredible defensive effort put in by both. Gurney. Another big hit. There's a lot of Kate Marks out there. She is a very influential player to this Cambridge side, as the ball's just knocked on there, and a chance very quickly here for Oxford to come on the counter. There's space out on the far side. They've got penalty advantage as well. They continue to go up the middle, but was that a little bit more space there?
I know Gary Street on the sidelines will be shouting, turnover ball, move it wide, because that's what he used to shout when he was England coach. When there's a turnover ball like this, defences are disorganised. So if you can turn the ball over quickly, if you can recycle it, then there's always space out wide.
Well, there you go, Gary Street there, the Oxford head coach. Alongside him on the right-hand side, you can also see Ali Mortimer. A very strong coaching team they are as well, because they don't just coach Oxford together, they also coach the Harlequins ladies in the Tyrrell's Premier 15s, the new league that has been launched by the Rugby Football Union in this last season. First scrum then, Oxford ball. That's a big push from Cambridge, but somehow Oxford managed to hold on. Pat Metcalf-Jones flying round the corner. Finally the cavalry arrives. No scrum half though. Hodges does the honours in the end. Very busy already there by McArdle. You can tell her varsity experience there, getting involved almost at every ruck. Metcalf-Jones, not clean. And a chance then for Cambridge. You can tell it's jittery out there.
Lots of nerves, a greasy ball, all of it adds up to errors early on. This pass didn't really do her any favours. Did it, Sophie Bean?
It's tough to catch a ball around your hip, isn't it?
It is. But it was a significant first scrum. Cambridge pretty dominant. Oxford managed to hook the ball quickly, didn't they? So were able to get it away. But Cambridge will be happy with that first up.
Cambridge scrum. At the moment, Cambridge do have the edge at the moment at the scrum. Could that be a weapon that we see develop as this game continues? Coleman, now 19 years old. She really was the baby this time last year. Good turnover then from Oxford. Is this the first opportunity?
It's open play.
Donaldson also involved. Cambridge get the ball back. Big hitting run coming in then by Banner.
Blue back!
Marks with the box kick.
One, just make sure it takes that.
That's gone straight out of play, but that's fine. She's inside of her 22 and she just relieves the pressure.
We haven't seen much of a kicking game from Cambridge yet, and it, for me, interesting to see one of the most experienced Oxford players, Sophie Trott, at fullback. She is so deep, expecting a 50-metre kick from this Cambridge team. If I were her, I'd be up much further, able to put pressure on when the kick's made.
If anyone knows about where the backs should stand, it is Sue Day, who is here with us. She can recommend a few places you should or shouldn't be. Ball goes cleanly then into the arms of Collis. Nice line out then from the dark blues. Metcalf-Jones manages to find the safe hands of Bidgood. This is a better platform from Oxford. They've got a nice pod of players there. You feel that they're just trying to suck in Oxford on that far side so they can make the space on the right, but that's gone down to ground there by Dabrowski. It's all backwards, says the referee so far. Well, that cleaning up job was eventually finished by Cambridge. That's gone down as well. We can't stress enough, you probably can't see it through the pictures on the screen. It is so wet out there. It's been absolutely chucking it down at Twickenham. And it's got that horrible misty rain that's coming down right now. It is not easy playing conditions. Well, that was taken in. It'll be a scrum down then to the dark blues.
Both teams at the moment not making the best of turnover ball. There's a lot of turnovers, and then playing one-off rugby straight off it. It's not challenging the defence. They need to start picking their heads up and looking at where the space is.
Is it going to be a frustrating day for the backs, Sue, with the conditions that we're in at the moment? Getting that ball out is going to be tough.
It feels like it, doesn't it? So, A, the conditions are greasy, and B, it's the biggest game of the year for these teams, and nobody wants to make the errors, and so spinning the ball wide, we're probably not going to see quite so much of that today.
I saw a little flash there of a very calm-looking Jack Baird. There's a little hand in there that I don't think the referee spotted. I don't think the assistant referee saw it either. Really meant to do that. And a penalty has gone the way of Oxford, so perhaps that is a little bit of a coming back in the right direction in the end.
Yeah, poetic justice that, wasn't it? It was such a clear hand. We could see it all the way from up here.
And here's a penalty opportunity for Oxford. Now, they actually kicked it from a similar position last year for their 3-point win, but they've decided not to do that. Taken on this time by Haste. The big yellow scrum cap. Dabrowski, she's really scuffed that, to be fair. She had so many Cambridge players up in her face. She did not have time to get a real connection with the ball at all. There was space back there. It was the right idea. So, nice pass out there coming in from Banner. She managed to find the hooker, Gurney. Big hits going in there, and the referee does not like it.
It's a high tackle. This is second
The referee said it's a bit high, but what a hit it was. Just a little bit behind. The hit had to be made, didn't it? Because there was space out wide. You can see the shoulder just rising up into the neck. I think it's probably the first hit, wasn't it, that was just too high.
Well, it was Phoebe Haste and Hannah Cooper who were both in there. Phoebe Haste there, she's an engineering science student at Trinity, teaming up with her colleague. This was the hand that we saw go in there. And you have to say it is a dominant Cambridge scrum, but if the ball is just going to come out the other side, you just have to let it go.
Yeah, there was no real need for that, was it? Either the scrum would have been reset, or they were driving so well, they'd have ended up over the ball. Anyway, a really interesting call here, though. Cambridge with a penalty going for a scrummage. That says we don't really believe in our kicking ability. We don't believe in our ability to make ground. It's a big risk, though, trying to run the ball out from just outside your 22 in these sorts of conditions.
Could also be a very tiring morning. Kate Marks then just waiting for that scrum to settle. It's better there. Defensive scrum from Oxford, but it's still picked up cleanly at the base there by Pratt, the natural sciences and biology student. See that black scrum cut there of Alice Elgar winning her third cap. It's loose on the floor, but Cambridge do manage to hold on. Nice linking up together as Orris comes forward. Finally the kick does come away, and there is space there. That's a lovely kick as well. Tracking back is Trott. She is in the right place and she likes to run. Oh, she did so well. Just a little foot over the edge there. The assistant referee has said that that stayed in, but it's a penalty to Cambridge.
Yeah, the referee judging that she just held on to the ball too long there, Sophie Trott. She fields the ball well and then chooses to go on the outside, and that's when she gets isolated from the rest of the team, giving Cambridge a chance to go for it.
And our first real chance to see Cambridge attacking here. First time we've really seen them down at the other end of the field.
It is. It's all been in Oxford's attacking half till now, hasn't it? Haven't really threatened the line, though, so Cambridge will be happy. Got through the first 10 minutes with almost no possession in the right half of the pitch and haven't conceded any points.
Did good. It's a good line out as well. Eyes up. That's a nice run also coming in there by Coleman, but then it goes loose.
Blue's lost.
Referee says no knock on, play on. Once again, Marks with that box kick, waiting for it as her opposite number in Metcalf-Jones. And that one definitely has been given. It's loose on the floor, everyone's virtually stopped, so they will restart then with the scrum. That's exactly what Cambridge will want.
Yeah, they're testing Oxford now, aren't they, with the kicks over the top. Metcalf-Jones did a good job of taking the ball in the first place, but then wasn't able to set herself for the contact, and it was good pressure off the kick from Cambridge.
Pat Metcalf-Jones, she's got an interesting backstory because she was actually on the England player pathway, and when she was choosing her university she said, I really want to go to Oxford or Cambridge, but I don't know if their rugby is strong enough. And they actually said, you do know that Gary Street is the head coach now at Oxford University? She said, oh really? Oh, I'll go there then. So there you go. And she also plays at the weekends for Harlequins ladies. Nice run back inside, clean there by Gibson, Cambridge captain. Marks to Orris. Marks just enough time there to choose the correct direction to go in. Nunez Mulder.
No hands, 10. Back blue.
Marks has got good support in there. Pratt there once again out to that far side. Farrant also acts as the Cambridge team manager. Very busy woman. This is slow and steady from Cambridge. They're just getting this together, nice and calm. Nunez Mulder again. Big hit coming in there by the Oxford captain. Marks. That's gone loose from Coleman. That's come off a knee in the end, but the referee will come back for the original knock-on, and all of that ground, a good 20 metres made by Cambridge, and it's an Oxford scrum.
Yeah, Cambridge are struggling with their handling in these conditions. They're creating the chances now, aren't they? Sucking the Oxford defence in, then trying to move the ball wide, just not quite getting it into the space that they want to.
It'll be interesting to see how Oxford actually decide to exit from where they are now. Sophie Trott does have a boot on her. I'm just looking to see where they've all lined up. It does look like they've slightly split themselves on either side. They've got options, but as much as Sophie Trott's got a boot, she's also got some very fast legs.
Indeed.
There's the push from Cambridge, and somehow Bean comes away with it. That was big pressure coming in from the light blues. Dragged down in the end by Fiona Shuttleworth. This time it is Trott. She used that right boot. She gets absolutely thumped for her efforts. It comes back out on this near side, but that was a good clearance.
Yeah, an excellent kick from Sophie Trott under pressure. You wondered if she'd just taken a millisecond too long. This Cambridge defence bearing down on her, but actually it was perfect timing, wasn't it? And really well placed, because what she absolutely didn't want was for that ball to land in the arms of Alice Middleton, such a threatening runner on the counter-attack.
Yes, we're going to talk a lot about Alice Middleton and Sophie Trott throughout this match. They've both won the Peggers Bunting Award for the last two fixtures. It's been all about the fullbacks, and when they go head on, it's a wonderful rivalry. Orris.
Ball is there.
Marks thinks she can see a little bit of a gap there, and she's managed to make a good 5 metres on her own there. Nunez Mulder. One of the many medical students in this Cambridge squad. Penalty opportunity here for Cambridge. An important platform for them, and they've taken it quickly. Gurney.
And blue release.
You can see some of the more senior players had that little bit more telepathy in this Cambridge squad.
Still blue.
Working together well. And there is just that bit more varsity experience in the Cambridge side compared to Oxford.
No hands, white.
It's down on the ground, and that one coughed up on the Oxford side. Kate Marks thought she could come away with it, but referee gives the penalty back to Oxford.
Referee keeping a close eye on both teams in that breakdown. It's a good piece of work in the breakdown, wasn't it? I think it's the number 2. I think it's Big Good getting her hands in there. Exactly what Oxford needed, because Cambridge are building more and more pressure.
Well, once again, the decision was to run, and again, it's really hard from the TV screens because it's so heavy, the rain here. There you go, that's just a little taste, and the wind as well is really swirling around here. We were absolutely battered as we came into Twickenham. It howls around the outside of the stadium.
Just about the worst possible conditions for exciting running rugby, unfortunately.
The rain is meant to stay with us for around an hour or so. It might have cleared up, we think, by the end of this fixture. Pick up at the base then by Bean. Marks now, she's got numbers outside her. Running in from the fullback position is Middleton. Still there also is Farrant. She has to muck in. Marks manages to find Withers. That's lost forward. It's a real bar of soap. And Trott once again with the boot, and there's no one at home. Middleton was involved in that last move. She has to backtrack. Big loose ball there by Nichols. And look at the defensive run there. Clattering in from Oxford, who've pushed Cambridge all the way back inside of their own half. I'll be wondering what just happened. Well, it was the boot of Sophie Trott. Big hits going in there on Pratt. Nice box kick. Like that. Oh, nearly scragged there. Pat Metcalf-Jones didn't realise she was being hunted down there by Coleman. Cooper.
No.
McArdle.
Roll.
Metcalf-Jones again. And this time we do get the clearance then by Dabrowski. Middleton is there and she does get it before it goes out. She was being hunted there by Smart. Marks with the right boot. Trott just waiting for that ball to settle. She was well caught there. And a mistake from Oxford in the worst place. And it's turnover ball anyway for Cambridge. Banner. Let's talk about running into heavy traffic there. Marks thinks she can see space, but that's going to go straight to Trott, who doesn't call for the mark.
No advantage from
No, they're going to come back.
That was an incredibly long phase of play. Just want to take a minute to talk about the Oxford wingers. There's Sophie Trott fielding that ball. Sophie Farrant must have put in 4 tackles in the space of about 30 seconds. Sophie Trott cleared the ball and Sophie Farrant was just like an Exocet missile, chasing around the pitch, chasing the ball out and tackling players. You can see absolutely out of breath, but they've really put a shift in this Oxford back three, putting the tackles in. Sorry, Violet Smart.
There you go. Big hit coming in then. Back down. Donaldson. She manages to find Coleman. Middleton. She's a real tricky customer, Middleton. We talked about her and we've watched her progress. She's not just all about running and passing. She can be tough when she's got the ball as well for anyone to do anything with. Gibson, the captain, on the floor. Oh, once again, I think that one just came off her chest. And Oxford have an opportunity here. Can they get it out wide quickly? They decide to straighten up. That's good. Last pass out towards this near side. It's into the hands then of Violet Smart. If they can scramble again here, Oxford, there's space as Cambridge is still rearranging, but it's slow ball. McArdle again. Wonderful work there. Beautiful work there by Cambridge to get that ball back. Big hit going there on Orris.
It's open play.
That's gone from one side to the other, back to the other, and I think the referee's just going to tidy that up in the end.
Yeah, it's just too scrappy at the moment, isn't it? The players coughing the ball up in these conditions. Big apologies to Violet Smart, bigging her up and getting the wrong name, but we saw again there her strength in the contact area. Oxford just saw a sniff, didn't they, of a counter-attacking opportunity out wide.
There is Violet Smart, the philosophy and theology student at Mansfield. She's actually London born, so coming back home then for this match on the outskirts of the capital city. Cambridge still with the edge there, but Oxford are dealing with it well every time there is a scrum. Trott looks out, oh, and Smart can't take the ball. There is actually quite a muddy patch in that area where Smart took the ball. We did actually talk a lot during the Autumn Internationals about the state of the Twickenham pitch after the NFL match that was played here before the Autumn Internationals started. And you can see when all the players are running along, there's a lot of mud kicking up from their heels.
Yeah, the pitch has been struggling a bit, hasn't it? As you say, not the first time in this autumn series. Poor old Violet Smart, commentator's curse. We've just been talking about how well she's playing. And they worked it well, Oxford, then, didn't they? The blind side scrum move, it was good hands, really well timed to get the ball out wide.
No, it's gone down on her knees. Reset.
Well, we've got another reset scrum here, and we've actually added them up, and it's 10 knock-ons split between the two sides. But that could well be the story of this match with the conditions that they're playing in.
I think that's right. And both teams just need to keep it really simple. It doesn't mean you can't move the ball. You just have to stand a bit closer together, make sure you're making those passes safely, and challenge the defence by running smart angles rather than spinning the ball really wide.
You see Kate Marks going there to dig the ball out from in the second row. You could do that now due to the new laws that have been brought in, but Coleman loses it there as it comes in. She knows she's up on the big screen here at Twickenham, and she's extremely frustrated with herself as well. Nice pass from Donaldson, but perhaps just a little bit short, too far in front there of Coleman.
It was dying on her slightly, but Mary Coleman absolutely would have expected to catch that, and in a game like this you need to, don't you? She was running the hard line, wasn't she, to really challenge the defence, get over the gain line. That's often your job as the number 12.
Crouch!
We saw there Kate Marks there at the last scrum picking that ball up from around the second rows. Is that a new law that you've been happy that's come in this season, Sue?
Anything that just enables the game to keep moving, I'm happy with.
Well, Oxford are just about happy with how the scrum is going because they're surviving the Cambridge onslaught at the moment. Metcalf Jones supported there. She was stuck, so it was in the end Bean who came in to get it, but it's lost forward this time by Oxford.
Scrum. Excellent.
Here we go. That was Bean. And it was good body position there by Nunez Mulder to bring down her opposite number, Kate Collis. And again, she just got a shoulder in there to shove that ball. Yeah,
the tackle was a good one. Got the player and the ball, managed to dislodge it.
Well, I have to say, in my time, I used to play on the wing occasionally, and in a game like this, I'd be wearing long sleeves.
I would too. There's those games on the wing where you just hang around waiting for the ball to arrive, shivering on the sidelines while the forwards are cuddling in the scrum.
Wonderful scrummaging from Cambridge University. Textbook stuff. If you're watching women's rugby for the first time, that is how you do it.
That had been coming, hadn't it? Oxford to this point had done pretty well just to keep enough parity, and when they had the ball, just to get the ball out quickly. But that time, Cambridge got the nudge, didn't they? All the momentum, all the timing. Brilliant. You can see Kate Marks after it, the celebration. She knows how significant it is.
Jack, they're very happy with his forwards. But an interesting decision here. Cambridge have decided to go for another scrum, which, considering the position that they are in, it doesn't show a lot of confidence in their kicking ability, does it, in where they are to actually gain more ground?
It doesn't. It says we really don't think we've got the kick to make the territory. I mean, yes, get on top of Oxford again, gain a bit more ground. You'd be surprised if the referee got her card out for one of the props at this point. And what I don't see, the last time Cambridge had a scrum like this, they put Alice Middleton on the blind side. She's not lurking there this time.
Well, here we go again. Is that what Cambridge are actually looking for? The ball is out, so I don't think that was quite the plan, and the switch back direction onto the far side. A little dink and a step there comes in by Mark. She's got support from Donaldson, but again, the defensive from Oxford is very strong, and they managed to gather the loose ball. Bean, the captain, and we've got a Cambridge player on the wrong side.
Not rolling.
She's going to very much know that she was in the wrong place there.
You already had the advantage.
She was dragged out.
This is great work, isn't it? At the breakdown. Bean it is that picks up the loose ball and then looks after it. But Cambridge really needed to make that count, didn't they? Having made the decision to go for the scrummage. And as it is, Oxford do get the chance to clear.
Oh, and Sophie Trott, that wasn't what she wanted to happen. Comes away now to Alice Middleton. Lucy Cavendish medic lifts up her knees there. Alice Middleton still has a number of records to her name. Most points ever scored in a varsity match. That was in the 52-0 win in 2015. First match played here for the women at Twickenham. Donaldson finds Elgar.
Roll out 4. Okay, ball is there.
A couple of nice big handoffs coming in from Gurney. The referee's in the way there. That'll be annoying for Cambridge. But the kick comes away. Smart can't take it. Trott has to swallow up the ball, gives it back to Smart. Smart can't connect. It's all backwards though for Oxford. Trott is using every inch of her body to place that ball backwards there. That penalty could have gone either way.
Counter is good, but you got
Oxford may have been a little bit lucky there. Cambridge got numbers in the breakdown, were driving over it. They came off the feet at the last minute, the Cambridge players competing for the ball, but Violet Smart was in a lot of trouble here, and Cambridge, you can see them counter-rucking.
Oh, Alice Middleton there in all kinds of a muddle with the ball. Advantage to Oxford. There's space out on the far side if they can recycle the ball. And the ball is just done. You can feel there's just mud on it now, the way that it's moving when it's skidding on the floor. Yeah, the inaccuracy at the breakdown as well. Alice Middleton just couldn't quite get her hands on the ball, and Violet Smart. That tackle off the ball, possibly you could argue, a tackle off the ball there, but manages to put the pressure on Alice Middleton. She has been such a standout player though for Cambridge, hasn't she, over the last couple of years? She's there's Violet Smart, you can see on the screen there, but Alice Middleton, she's actually already a qualified dentist, and she is now studying medicine. Born in Stevenage, she's also a former captain of this side as well. We do enjoy her opposite number going up. We should say at Oxford and Cambridge, as we see another dominant Cambridge scrum. It's another penalty coming for the light blues. It's a long day at the office at the scrum for the Oxford forwards. It really is. Once it starts to go that way, it's really hard to bring it back. And of course, Cambridge now are just going to opt for scrummage at every possible opportunity. Ball comes out then on this near side. And this is the side where the majority of the crowd are here, packed into Twickenham. Plenty of bobble hats out here today. The temperature isn't actually that cold here, but with the wind and the rain, I think there's actually a former Cambridge captain there with one of her bobble hats on, and we'll give her a little bit of a nod in a second, because Claire Donaldson's currently got the ball and she's running away with it at the moment. It was Nikki Weckman who was out there. Good to see her back and supporting her university. Loose ball there. And now here we go, here's an opportunity on the counter then for Oxford. Strong legs coming in by Haste. Metcalf-Jones looks up. Dabrowski is there. She's the American in this Oxford squad. She's played a lot of touch rugby. She's just adjusting this season to the contact side of things. Rogers down on the ground. Another big run coming in this time by Collis.
9 release.
Just a bit of a change of direction there. Almost trying to outfox Cambridge, but in the end, they've managed to clean it up on the floor.
Use it.
Kate Marks is endlessly trying to call in more forwards to cover her as she tries to get this ball away. Gibson.
Advantage over.
Nunez Mulder, she's always there in that lime green scrum cap.
You're first on the ground, okay? Stay on the ball.
And there's a lot of that box kick coming in from Kate Marks. Trott gathers once again. She's got numbers behind her. She really had her arms trapped there though. Dabrowski. Bit of a backtrack and a wing-on-wing situation, as in the end Violet Smart loses it under the pressure from Bluebell Nichols, and then finally the ball bobbles out of play on this near side.
Violet Smart got her hands on that and just for a moment thought she might get away. Cambridge, I'm not sure if it's a tactic or if that's the kicking that they've got in their game, but they keep putting the ball in the gap in front of the 15, behind the 9. I'm sure Gary Street at half-time will be telling Oxford you need to plug that gap. The easiest thing in my book would just be to bring Sophie Trott forward. We haven't seen any evidence so far, have we, of Cambridge being able to kick with distance.
There we go.
Bit good then. Yeah, science student. This is strong then. Manages get into the hands of Bunting. She passes the ball away. It's the first time we've really seen the ball going into the Oxford back's hands. Dabrowski. She decides to take it on herself. Being in there as well. Oxford, they're just trying to get this one out. Bean decides to go around the corner. They just had too many players there. Metcalf-Jones finds a good runner in Odgers.
No hands white.
This is a better passage of play from Oxford. Nice running, beautiful running coming through from Oxford. A little pop-off and Smart just couldn't take the ball. It was a great initial run though that came in. And it was Abby de Cruz, the Australian, who flew away on her own there. If she maybe pinned her ears back, she could have gone on her own.
Yeah, it was a brilliant break from de Cruz. Probably either got to go for it or make that pass just a little bit sooner before her arms were getting wrapped up in the tackle, but let's not take away from her. Great break in the first place and really got some go forward for Oxford. Scrum time, though, which Oxford won't be happy about at all.
It's a familiar place for us to be, scrum time.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Well, at the moment, as we approach half-time here, it is 0-0 in the varsity, and you can have a draw in the varsity, of course. The ball comes away. Back into light blue hands. This is good then, coming in by Gibson. She's got good support from the Cambridge backs. It's moving well. This time it's Withers. And we actually have a problem from the Oxford side. Dabrowski is down on the ground at the moment for Oxford. She's taken a lot of balls so far in this varsity fixture. They won't want to lose her at this early stage.
They won't. You're talking about former touch player getting used to contact. She's had no problem taking contact today, has she? Very comfortable in the contact areas, but Gary Street, can see the look of concern on his face. You do not want to lose your fly half 30 minutes into the varsity match.
You don't, and it will also involve a lot of shuffling around the Oxford squad if she was to go off, because their reserve fly half is actually Abby de Cruz, who we just saw do that first big run. Because the three backs he's got on the bench, they tend to all play either wing or fullback. None of them are in that first receiver position, so it would be de Cruz that would have to come in. So we're just trying to find the moment here where Dabrowski went down. And yeah, all of a sudden her ankle just seems to go beneath her. And she didn't get up from that moment. Has there been some magic strapping, do you think, Sue?
Bit of magic ice spray, bit of magic strapping usually does the trick. For sure, there's no way she's going to want to go off the pitch.
It really does mean so much to all these women to play in this fixture, as they all step up and make their way back to the restart. And there's actually a little bit of not treatment as such, just a bit of water that's also come onto the pitch for both sides at the moment. They're having a great day out. It's been an early start.
Time on.
Yeah, especially if you're coming down from Oxford today, making sure you get here in time for kick-off. Great to see so many people here supporting, particularly ex-players. You can see little clumps of them around the ground, can't you?
5.
I have to say, a lot of them are
Yes, make
all
sure you're
holding
in the
liquid in their hands. It's a very early start for a lot of them. I'm sure
Water.
some of them are nicer teas and coffees as well. Short numbers in the line out, and it comes away into Cambridge hands. Withers. Comes back, this time to Coleman. She's got Gibson, that goes forwards. And this time Smart holds on to the ball. It's really loose there.
Play on.
Somehow Bean just threw herself on that and manages to hold on to it for her side. Haste.
Tackler release.
And a lot of Cambridge players
You
on the
still
ground there.
have Blue.
That's a tough
Leave it,
ball
boy.
for Oxford to get away quickly. Dabrowski. A bit of a dink and a dive coming
Keep
from
your tackles
Simpson. Loose on the ground, and De Cruz is going to knock on there. Tried to pick it up around her ankles when it's wet. It's not easy. Another chance then for Cambridge. 5 minutes left then until the half-time whistle, and still nothing between these two sides.
Blue, roll.
Penalty then to Cambridge, and this time they're deciding to run. Marks is off and away. She needs numbers outside her. It's loose on the ground. It's been sucked up in the end by Farrant. Down on the ground and into the 22. Penalty advantage also coming Cambridge's way.
Blue,
Pratt is there. Cambridge making sure they don't get too excited. Nunes Mulder. This is the furthest up the pitch that Cambridge have been, or either side have been in each other's halves. This time to Coleman. Coleman thinks there's space there. Oh, she is absolutely bulldozing her way through. Wonderful running there by the King's College student. Loose ball into the danger zone as Middleton takes a big hit coming in there by Bunting. Nice little edge around the corner there by Marks. 5 metres left to go for Cambridge. Pratt looking for the ball. She's going to go herself.
Release.
Pick and go once again. This time it's Banner. Still a metre to go. Cambridge with the chance to break the deadlock. Withers is there. What a hit coming in there by Haste. There's numbers out on the far side. Still going forward. Coleman thinks she can go on her own. Coleman's still going. There's still 2 inches left. And it's been lost forward in the end by Donaldson. Knock on, but was there a penalty to come back for?
Ball was still in and you came in from the side.
It looks like it, doesn't it? Kate Marks is racing back there.
And Kate Marks is going to take it quickly. She's got numbers. Goes in hands of Gurner. She has gone over the line. We finally break the deadlock as Cambridge University's Jess Gurney has got the first try of this varsity match. And after all of that possession, Cambridge go ahead.
They had to make it count, Cambridge, didn't they? First of all of that possession, and secondly, if you're going to tap a penalty that far, that in front of the post, and not take the 3 points in a tight game like this, then you've got to make sure you score the 5, and Jess Gurney did exactly that. Oxford just didn't get themselves organised in defence. Kate Marks got there first, Jess Gurney got there with her, and Oxford couldn't hit them back. Brilliant finish from Gurney.
What a big smile on the face then of Jess Gurney, playing and winning her 5th blue today. Medical student from Newnham College, born in Stockport, scoring tries in the varsity. Here's someone who's used to scoring in the varsity, Alice Middleton. And the flags are flying, and Cambridge are 7 up against Oxford. Still enough time for a restart though, and we have to say for Oxford there was some heroic defending in the build-up to that try.
There had been, hadn't there? Really hitting people backwards, particularly Phoebe Haste, but then I'd say Oxford let themselves down a little bit just in that last play. Cambridge got there first. Oxford, as soon as a penalty had called, needed to get there on the line, ready to come up and hit them backwards. There were 4 defenders hanging around Jess Gurney, and she was able to shake them all off. Brilliant finish from her, well done.
Taking in a bit of oxygen there from Jess Gurney. She gets ready to go again. Oh, mistake there from the restart coming in by Elgar.
Side roll.
And surprisingly, the referee hasn't given the knock on. She's said to play on. We can only assume it was out of her eye line. Emily Pratt.
Back, Blue. Back.
Marks. And just tries to get the ball away. And here's an opportunity. Dabrowski. She has recovered. And she's making ground. Metcalf-Jones. Dabrowski isn't there in that first receiver position, so in the end McCardle takes on duties.
Advantage over.
Dabrowski thinks there's space again. She's really pushing Alice Middleton to move here. That ball is going to stay inside of the 22. And there's time here for Alice Middleton to run. A one-on-one then with Sophie Trott. She decides to hack it on, and it is being chased. It's into the break basket straight away of Lara Gibson. Gibson still going for the line. It was made by Middleton. Gibson will finish it off. And what a final 5 minutes in this first half for Cambridge University.
Brilliant from Cambridge. It was always a bit of a risky kick. If you're going to kick over to Alice Middleton, you really need to be stretching her. Middleton fielded it really well. There's nobody really with Violet Smart. She's got a lot of ground to cover, and Alice Middleton beats her for pace. And then it's this decision, that decision from Alice Middleton that makes it the kick over, because she was surrounded. And then Gibson's chasing really well behind her. Huge smile on her face. What a try for Cambridge, what a try that is.
Some stunning speed as well there by Lara Gibson. She was elected captain back in March, and clearly captaincy suits her. Well, Middleton is 1 from 1 so far, kicking at goal. A second opportunity. See the rain just thundering down there on her. And she remains clean with the boot then in the varsity, and that will be the half. And Cambridge lead here, 14-0, but still 40 minutes left to play for Cambridge, for Oxford to make their comeback. Well, there will be a 5-minute break now where both sides, they're actually going to stay out on the field of play, which is very brave for them considering the conditions that we're playing right now. I'm sure they'd all like to go into a nice warm dressing room, but no, they've made the decision with only 5-minute turnaround. They will stay out on the park, they will refuel there, and they'll also have their debrief there. Let's talk about Cambridge first of all, Sue. All of a sudden, they did enjoy more possession, but in that last 5 minutes, they all of a sudden find a way to the try line. It took them a while to get into the game, didn't it? The conditions, the nerves probably meant that they were just making far too many mistakes. We saw a couple of knock-ons from Mary Coleman early on, but then when she got her game together, she's been the go forward for Cambridge, hasn't she? Getting them over the gain line. And what a way to finish the half. You finally get on the scoreboard, like with Jess Gurney here. Finally, after 37, 38 minutes, you get on the scoreboard, and then you go and do it again a minute later. Well, Jess Gurney there, she backed herself to get over the line, and that was what opened the scoring in the end for Cambridge. It was Alice Middleton who added the extras, who's kicking in very difficult conditions so far here at Twickenham. As Jess Gurney gets up there now, she's 24 years old. She's played in a few of these varsities now. She's actually just receiving a little bit of treatment there down on the ground. That kind of experience, when you look through the two sides, that's actually the difference between Oxford and Cambridge. Oxford are actually playing in a higher league, in what's called the Bucks University Leagues at the moment, but although Cambridge are in a lower league, they're actually having more time together, they're having to travel less, and they've got more experience. It makes such a big difference, experience, on days like this, when you are nervous, when the conditions aren't helpful, when you know you've got to make each one count. So that experience that Cambridge have really counting. This was the second try then for Cambridge, and it was that kick there into the hands of Alice Middleton, and then she had the composure to see that she had Gibson with her. She could hack it on, and Gibson could then go and finish the job. And you said it at the time, Sue, don't kick to Alice Middleton if you think she's got space. Yeah, very, very dangerous option. And because the Oxford defence was quite narrow, really there's only Violet Smart who's got any chance of getting anywhere near her.
But don't underestimate how well Gibson's done here. She's first of all got back to support Alice Middleton, and then positioned herself brilliantly, and then put on the afterburners, completely outpacing Metcalfe-Jones and then Sophie Trott. An excellent finish.
Well, while we just watch these replays just a few more times, just a reminder that if you are watching women's rugby and you're thinking, do you know what, I really want to go and have a go at that, of course you can, because there's a few ways you can find out the nearest place to you where you can go and play. The first place you can go to actually is the BBC Sport website. There's an activity finder there on the Get Inspired pages. Just enter your postcode. I actually went on it just the other day. I found 13 different rugby tots sessions near me, so if there's a younger person near you, that's the best place to go. But if you're a little bit older, go to the RFU website. That's the England Rugby website, and they go to the My Rugby section. There's a players section, and again it's a club finder. Again, I found 10 different clubs within 8 miles of my house that all have women's and girls teams, and I'm sure some of these girls could come along and play along with me. They're having a great time.
I wonder who they're supporting.
No idea at all. Could be anyone. We'll have to wait and see. But you can see Jack Baird there just giving a few more words of encouragement to his Cambridge women to continue their great first half. We should also mention that Jack Baird, he also coaches at Saracens Women, and of course we mentioned earlier that Gary Street, the Oxford head coach, he coaches at Harlequins Ladies, and they actually played last weekend over at the Twickenham Stoop, which is very close to us here at Twickenham Stadium, and Saracens beat Harlequins for the first time this season.
That was a top of the table clash with everything riding on it, just like this match, everything riding on it. So yeah, Jack Baird got one over on Gary Street that game, and it's a tough challenge. An easy job for Jack Baird, isn't it, at half time when you go with the momentum of those 2 tries. A really tough job for Gary Street and his coaching team to pick your team up off the floor, give them the pointers that they need to turn this game around, and the weather's getting worse again.
Yeah, I have to say, just as half-time has come in, the rain has got heavier, if you can actually believe that. Jack Baird is staying out there for as long as he can, just to inspire his team to carry on. He's actually in his 4th year in charge now of the Cambridge women, as he makes his way back. He's also got a day job as the head of rugby at King's. He's supported by Ian Minto, also Anna Stotter, and his team manager is John Naylor. And I have to always give a little bit of a shout out to John Naylor. He is always fantastic at helping us out in the build up to Varsity, as is Gary Street. He's always happy to have a chat with us on the phone and tell us how the squad is getting on. But here we go, 40 minutes left to play then in the 31st Women's Varsity 2017. Cambridge with a 14-0 lead. Is that ball going to bobble over? No, it's not gone 10. And Cambridge with all that confidence going into this second half. Mistake at the kickoff.
Just what the coach didn't want, just what Alice Middleton didn't want. Oxford being really clever just to watch and wait. It would have been a tricky one to pick up if it had made the 10. I think they'll forgive Alice Middleton, won't they, after a performance at the end of that first half.
The waves of rain coming into Twickenham Light now. They're not quite biblical, but it's close.
It's not how you imagine your Twickenham experience as a player, is it? You want to be on that hallowed turf in bright winter sunshine.
Oh, it's the same old story there. They've let that scrum play on. I'm not quite sure where that ball came. It must have been totally out for the referee to allow that. It's gone forward though. Big handoff, wonderful stuff coming in there by Farrant. Manages to stay in the field of play as well. And just as I say, the rain can't get any worse, it does. Wow. You can definitely see that on your screens now. I tell you what, when it rains like this, the shower that you have at the end of the match is the best shower you'll ever have. Let's hope it's hot water in the Twickenham changing rooms. Penalty then for Cambridge.
Really is teeming down. It gets so hard to play rugby in these conditions, in the scrummage, just losing your grip. You barely see through it at the moment from the side here.
And Cambridge have gone for the scrum, which, considering the conditions, I suppose you want to hold on to the ball for as long as you can.
As long as they've got their long studs in, they'll be all right. They've been so dominant, haven't they, over Oxford?
If you actually look into the stands at the moment, there's a lot of people who have gone into the far end that are making their way to the back because they are being absolutely sheeted on at the moment. And they are looking for the water to escape them. There they are, all trying to get away. And the scrum continues to dominate for Cambridge. Wow, it just goes and goes, and the penalty does come. Kate Marks is loving it. She's encouraging her forwards there.
Tried to use it earlier.
And there was someone pointing there at the goal. It was Jess Gurney. They haven't gone for that option so far. I think they're actually going to kick for the touch.
Yeah, clearly Jack Baird's had a word at half-time. It still is worth taking the territory, even if you might have the biggest distance on your kick. It's still 20, 25 metres made, and it gives them a much better attacking opportunity.
There are the secret messages going down onto the park there from a very smiley Cambridge coach. Opportunity then for Cambridge. How confident are they feeling right now? And here comes a maul. We haven't seen this tactic yet from them so far in this fixture. Oxford just trying to redirect traffic towards touch. Down on the ground, Nunez Mulder has it.
Lay still.
It's loose, gone backwards by Donaldson, so play on, says the referee. Elgar.
Back.
Marks. Donaldson. Coleman. Nice popped off ball. Coleman loses it forward in the end.
Accidental offside, scrum blue.
Almost trying to play too much there, Cambridge.
Yeah, they're absolutely dominant now, aren't they? Dominant in the scrum, dominant there in the driving maul, off the line out, but it's not the conditions to be messing around with it too much. She just overran the switch move. I think it was Laura Gibson, Mary Coleman, just giving the pass too late. A tough ask for Oxford, though, to play their way out of here with the amount of pressure that Cambridge are putting on them at scrum time.
Crouch!
Pat Metcalf-Jones knows that this ball needs to go in and out of this scrum very quickly. Sophie Bean is in a real warrior. Great hook back there by Biggood, and it does come away. Big run then by Dabrowski. She's made a wonderful
release
way down the park. Comes back, keeping it in the forwards this time. Collis. Mary Coleman take a bow for that tackle. Dabrowski looks up, decides to fly it over towards this near side. It's a painful handoff if you ever saw one. This time it's Simpson. She hasn't seen a lot of the ball, the Oxford outside centre. Big hits going in still, and they're double hits that are coming also from Cambridge. They're teaming up for their tackles. This time Cooper.
No hands, White! No, White!
The rain has just slightly eased in the last few moments as it goes down there by De Cruz. On the counter come Cambridge. Eventually I think the referee thinks we'll just calm this down a little bit, bring it back to where the first offence was.
Yeah, as ever, Oxford stringing some phases together. De Cruz shaking her head because there was no need for that one to go down. She just took her eye off it, didn't she, at the last moment? What a break that was.
She's studying comparative social policy.
We're stepping across as long as you stay square.
Kellogg.
Okay.
Nice and straight, Cambridge.
She's made a nice effort of it today. She's of course studying her college is Kellogg.
Crouch. Bind.
Ready, Cambridge, this is ours.
Set.
Marks then.
Keep it under control.
Not holding on to it this time. Pick up then by Pratt. Back to Marks. She's going to go through route one. A nice little switch round. Middleton takes on duties. They've got numbers here at Cambridge, but they do take their time sometimes.
Ball is gone.
Just to see which way to go. There's Banner and Elgar there. And Donaldson thinks there's space back there. She's going to test Trott. Trott again doesn't call for the mark. I'm not sure if she was quite aware of her positioning. Cardle down on the ground, and Oxford are trying to exit, and that's a great kick there from a really awkward angle there by Dabrowski. Hasn't found touch, but it has given Oxford some breathing space as the ball goes out of play on the far side. And what a finish there. It was in Cambridge hands, smashed out. It's an Oxford line-out.
They did well there, Oxford, didn't they? Clearing the lines. Brilliantly placed kick. And then very, very well chased as well by both Smart and Bunting.
No. Bit of confusion there between Bluebell Nichols and Alice Middleton. And Oxford jumped on it. Big good.
It's open play.
Not quite sure that was meant to initial recipient, but they still have it.
No hands wide.
Haste.
Brought back in.
This time it's Trott with her right boot. She clears overhead and finds her opposite number in Middleton. She'd be dangerous in space. She's almost going backwards there. She knows she needs to straighten up, but she's a bit isolated. Goes for the risky pass to Gibson. Not too much panic here from Cambridge. Know that they've got a long way to get back to where they were. Not long ago, it was only 5 metres from the try line. Now they're back on the halfway. Boris flying through those tackles. Good news that the rain has now stopped, but I think the after effects of it will be felt for a while here. Smart down on the ground then for Oxford.
Right, it's lost. Advantage.
Counter-rucking from Cambridge, but didn't come away in the end.
3 white off her feet.
Yeah, the referee giving really clear instructions to Cambridge. Very good take, wasn't it, from Violet Smart? And then Sophie Trott backing her up, just getting into the breakdown quickly enough.
Well, that goes out then over on that far side, but Alice Middleton just using every tiptoe that she has to keep that one in play and kicks it down.
Yes, you're on.
Dabrowski there lets the ball bounce once, but it ends up in her arms, and is this an opportunity? She runs straight into Lara Gibson there and takes it, and she's flying, but it sends it into the hands there of Gibson as it goes down onto ground. What a run by Dabrowski. You can tell she's still learning this game, but she is ferocious.
She really is, and you wonder, as she's learning this game, as she develops as a player, she's got something of a number 12 about her, hasn't she? Number 12 really gets you over the gain line. I'd be surprised if she stays at 10 all of her career with that sort of gain line breaking ability.
More.
She actually reminds me of the New Zealand fly half Dabrowski Nafatali, who won the World Cup with the Black Ferns just back in August. A very similar kind of player.
So hard to defend against, because you know you can't, as a defender, just leave that 10 and move on to the other threatening players out wide, because that player's so threatening on the gain line.
No hands, Blue. You're fixed.
Well, there's still half an hour left to play of the varsity, and you do just feel that bodies are starting to tire here. And this is where you'd normally see everyone to look to their bench, but it is a slightly different situation here in the varsity, because there isn't always as much experience to bring onto the bench to try and bring on those fresh legs.
That's true, and the game's close. You don't just throw players on because it's the experience of playing at the varsity when a game's that close. Can't afford to change the balance.
You can see there the Cambridge bench. They are going to warm up. They're just as wet as the players out on the field, because where the subs benches actually are here at Twickenham, they have no rain cover. Another chance to see the power then of this Cambridge scrum. You can see Kate Marks there. She is right in the ear there of referee Sarah Toll the whole time.
Holding 9.
Oh, mistake there from Trott. Just took her eye off the ball, and it's going to have to come back. We've also got an Oxford player down at the moment, and you do just begin to feel that time is starting to ebb away here from Oxford, and opportunities like that don't help.
No, and Sophie Trott doesn't normally drop those. They've changed her position at half-time. She has moved up a bit so she can take those kicks on the full, but of course when you get your positioning right, you've then got to take the catches.
Well, look at some of these smashes that have gone in from a little bit earlier. Hannah Cooper there. Another one, Mary Coleman. She's been in quite a few.
She has.
And we've seen this quite a few times from Cambridge, where they try and put 2 people into the tackle. And you can see Bunting there. She has been an absolute rock there, really, in that Oxford defensive line.
Yeah, tackle technique's so good. get some players sort of reaching into the tackle. She doesn't. She moves her legs close, really gets the shoulder in, and that's what makes the big hits that we've seen there. It's every time a player has got their balance right and really got the shoulder into the hit.
Well, we're just waiting at the moment for one of the front rows there from Oxford, just to see if she's going to continue playing or not. She's been down for quite a while now.
Yes.
I'm just waiting for confirmation of who it will be. Well, we're talking about the amount of tackles just going in there. 236 tackles that Oxford put in last year when they won 3-0. I think it's actually Hazel Ellender who's down there at the moment. They just go in. And I have to say, both of these teams, since they've started playing the varsity at Twickenham, huge investment has gone into both of these squads. And I was talking just the other day to Gary Street, who was saying about how many sessions they all have. They train 3 times a week. They're also very good. They have a WhatsApp group at times where they all get together and they all go to the gym together. Meanwhile, for Cambridge, there are 2 fitness sessions a week, 2 rugby sessions and 1 skill session. That's a lot of rugby.
It is a lot of rugby. The advantage you've got as a university team is that all the players are in quite close vicinity, so it's much easier to get players together. But when you've got something like the occasion of a varsity match to train for, then all of that effort's worth it.
Well, there you go. Gwendolyn Cartwright is making her way onto the field, and making her way off will be Hazel Ellender. We wish her well and hope she is going to be okay, but she will be making her way off the field. I don't know if she's been told that though, because Hazel Ellender is now making her way over to the scrum. I don't think she realises that she has been replaced, and now the conversation is going on. Unfortunately, Hazel Ellender, you've put in a brave performance, but your varsity has been completed. A little bit of confusion also there coming in, as I think Katie Collis also thought she was going off, but they said actually you've got to play on, Katie Collis, if you don't mind.
Yeah, there were no reinforcements coming on as she was trotting off the pitch there. They're definitely going to need her in this scrummage, Oxford.
Well, if you think that sometimes a 16 comes on in rugby and always plays hooker, Gwendolyn Cartwright is a prop, and that is where she is backing down now.
Come on. This is set. Ready, Cambridge.
Well, what a scrum for Cartwright to go into straight away. She's actually holding up her side pretty well, but it's still moving forward from Cambridge. You feel the penalty is still coming, but in the end, referee wants Cambridge to play. They made a good 6 or 7 metres there. No communication then on who that ball was for. Farrant has to pick it up.
Blue, release! Last foot, Blue, last foot!
Marks to Pratt. Marks again. Donaldson waits. Elgar.
No hands, Blue!
Marks to Donaldson. Coleman. Out on the far side. Gibson is there. Middleton can't connect. Trott also tries to release the ball in a little bit of haste. But Oxford do hold on to it. The knock-on was a little bit further forward. They could have had another couple of metres if they'd gone back. Referee happy to just let things flow a little bit more though. Bunting.
Stay up, Blue.
He's had a strong game in defence, but hasn't had a lot of ball in attack. Comes back to Browski once again. This time it's Haste.
Not held.
Really piling in numbers every ruck, Cambridge. Dabrowski once again. This time she pops the ball off to Odgers.
No hands, White!
There's hands in there. Referee is going to bring it back. It wasn't very subtle what Cambridge were doing there.
It wasn't subtle, and the referee was shouting no hands at the top of her voice, so that was only going to end one way in a penalty to Oxford.
I think she actually thought she was in there early enough before the ruck had formed. It was Emily Pratt there before she realised that the Oxford player was there over the top of the ball as well. Another injury then for Oxford, and this will start to weigh on their minds slightly. A lot of the medical treatment has come onto the field for every player throughout this match so far. It's always been a dark blue player.
Yeah, they're under so much pressure, Oxford, aren't they? Especially in this second half. Cambridge with so much ball, the scrum going backwards. That takes a toll on the defensive team. It's so much harder playing rugby without the ball.
We're going to have a few changes in a moment for Cambridge.
Sorry, because of the
Gary Street looks on,
just make sure you
considering what his options are going to be for the last 25 minutes. As more chat continues from these Oxford players, as Hester Odgers continues to receive treatment. There's going to be a few changes then. There we go, that was the big hit that went in there on Odgers. She took a big thump on the ground as she went down.
Yeah, seemed to fall really heavy on her shoulder, didn't she?
Well, we've had a couple of changes then for Cambridge. Coming off the field of play has been Jennifer Orris, who's getting the congratulations there. Also coming off is the try scorer Jess Gurney. Coming on in their places, we can also see Samantha Chan. She is on. Also coming on is Charlotte Spruzen.
Substitution complete.
Big smile there by Jess Gurney. Good afternoon's work.
And is this Cambridge turning the screw already on top at the scrummage and then bringing front row reinforcements on?
Just saw a little flash there of Samantha Chan, who is now on.
Don't pay attention!
She's wearing 17, but she can play hooker. Comes towards the near side of the field, running out of space there. How De Cruz took that on the first take was incredible. Unfortunately, she did eventually run out of space as she ran forward.
Yeah, playing out wide, you've got to be aware of where you are on the pitch. There was so little space. Oxford, by the time the ball gets out here, then you need to be playing it back inside. In the end, she just runs herself out of space, doesn't she?
So then a chance then for Samantha Chan, who you could see just flying through there in that final tackle on De Cruz. Clean up the front, but the referee doesn't like it. I don't think they actually realised that she'd blown her whistle there. So they're going to come back, and Oxford just making a decision about what they're going to do.
I think you might take the line out, wouldn't you, if you were Oxford here?
Okay, blue line
I think they would, and that's exactly what they've decided to do. I think the way the scrums have gone, that would be a fascinating decision. Big good. I think Collis was happy to get down on both feet then. She just caught her leg ever so slightly as she came down. Dabrowski having to play scrum half. Oxford ball. That's loose on the ground. They just lose that little bit of time there. Dabrowski fancies it once again. She's got support outside her. Smart just couldn't get the hands on the ball. Mara Gibson there, leading from the front as the skipper. Oxford enjoying more possession in the second half, but it's all at the wrong end of the field, and they just get it turned over so quickly.
Exactly that, loads of possession, but it's no good to you in your defensive third of the pitch.
Withers once again, loose on the ground.
Advantage over.
Nunes Mulder. Pratt there trying to support her, as is Elgar. Donaldson finds Coleman. Coleman just lifts those legs up, gets those extra couple of yards over the gain line.
Back 14.
Donaldson again. Fancies going herself, she's a little bit isolated.
Ball is available, play it.
Nunes Mulder loses the ball forward. Metcalf-Jones eventually decides to get it back to Trott. Trott knows that this is scrappy, gets it out to the far side, but all she manages to find is Middleton. Can she see space? She knows she's got Donaldson there. It's all about the backs here at the moment. Also in there is Shuttleworth.
6 out!
Cambridge just have this knack of getting the ball back every time. Pratt. They're still getting the ball out, and that was a bit of a moon ball pass, and I tell you what, Violet Smart says, I'll have that, thank you very much. No one else wants to put their name on it. That was great rucking by Cambridge, but straight over the top, and that was off the feet.
Yeah, great chase from Violet Smart. Poor hands from Cambridge that gave the opportunity. It's that pass, just a bit too much bottom hand on that pass, makes it loop over the head. Violet Smart does really well to leap on the loose ball.
Well, we're still waiting for the replacement to come on. Waiting very patiently there is Alice Mingay.
Number 12.
So it is actually coming off Affy Bunting, who we've been very impressed with, and she's going to be replaced by Alice Mingay. It'll be interesting to see also where Mingay moves into. She's going to come in on the wing. We thought that might happen, and De Cruz will slip into the centres.
Yeah, De Cruz in the centres, and well, possibly at fly half with Dombrowski at 12 is a possibility, isn't it? So it looks how they're lining up.
Okay, Marks just tries to force Oxford to turn, and there's the mistake. Marks takes it up very nicely. Good work by the scrum half.
No, 11.
She originally went to Exeter School, now studying history at Murray Edwards. Pick and go. Chan, who's been on the park, she's been pretty lively since she arrived in the second half. Elgar. Actually played a bit of cricket in her time at Alice Elgar. And that's a ball to no, and again, miscommunication costing both of these sides at times. Mary Coleman in the end just gets that ball back quickly in hope rather than design. Nice handoff by Withers. Again, slightly isolated, players arrive. Good strong tackling coming in. Well, Nunez Mulder, she hails from Wales, actually born in Bridgend. She's been very active. Spruzen.
Stay down, Blue.
And Donaldson. Is there space back there? And it's going to land back on the Cambridge side. Loose down on the ground. It was thrown at there by Violet Smart. She was desperate to try and close that down. But you just feel with both sides there, when these little kicks are just going over the top, it's not quite coming off how Cambridge want, but also Oxford aren't reacting quite well enough to them.
No, and Sophie Trott really coming from the back. She needed to be attacking that ball and leaping up into the air to take it. Violet Smart was kind of backtracking, flapping at the ball, and it needs to be the player running forward onto the ball. There's a good kick, I think, from Cambridge, really testing in that gap between the wing and the fullback, which makes it really difficult.
Thank you.
Well, this is a very nice platform if you are a Cambridge fan. We haven't had any points so far then in this second half. All of the points were scored in the final 3 minutes of the first half for Cambridge so far, and there was a big push there by Cambridge, but that one's collapsed and gone down in the middle. I don't think the referee's going to give it in either direction. She's going to reset this, but this is the first time you've actually seen a scrum for Cambridge where they could actually push in a proper direction for the try line.
Yeah, it's a great attacking opportunity either way, isn't it? Get a really good shove on at this scrummage, and you might even make it all the way over, or a really, really strong platform to set the backs off.
A big moment then for the Cambridge forwards, and a chance then for the Oxford women to step up and meet them quite literally head on. Here comes the shove. It's not going. Kate Marks is running, she's going on her own. Kate Marks still going for the line. That is over. Is it down cleanly? She thinks it is. And that is Cambridge's third try of the match.
The celebrations from Cambridge, running towards her, looping up in the air. A brilliant try from the scrum half, and it was the forwards that did a lot of the work, wasn't it? This platform, brilliant, but of course the back row has to stay in because they're under such pressure, and it means that the Oxford back row can't get off. Caitlin McArdle can't get anywhere near her. Lovely quick feet and just real persistence from Kate Marks getting the ball over the line.
Well, Kate Marks then going over the line. She's also an RFU Young Ambassador, and she actually got to go down on the Lions tour, do a bit of work down there. That's a tough job, isn't it?
Sounds like an awful job, and she enjoyed that try and the coaches enjoyed it as well. You have to make the most of these moments. You've got to celebrate them. It doesn't happen very often that you score a try at Twickenham, does it?
Well, I haven't done it. Alice Middleton then misses her first of the afternoon. It remains Oxford 0, Cambridge 19 after that third try by Kate Marks. She managed to wiggle her way over that line. She's still only 20 years old, Kate Marks. She's got plenty of varsities left in her.
I think she enjoyed that one.
She still can't believe it. She'll be smiling all night if this scoreline remains the same. 17 minutes left on the clock, and you do feel it's not quite over yet for Oxford. There's still plenty of time for them to get something out of this.
There's plenty of time. We just haven't seen enough threat from Oxford yet, though, today, have they? At least this gives them an opportunity to get in their attacking half of the pitch. They need some continuity. They need to get the ball into the hands of the threatening runners out wide.
Now, once again, this has happened twice now. The referee hasn't given those knocks on from the restarts. So Cambridge live on. We can only assume that she thought the ball had gone backwards. And a nice run there. A couple more changes there. You'll notice that the Shuttleworths have changed because there are twins on the Cambridge team today. Fiona Shuttleworth is off and her sister Jennifer Shuttleworth is on, and a bit of a loose ball there. Somehow Sophie Trott couldn't control it. She's smiling at herself there, but still frustrating.
Yeah, very, very difficult bouncing ball for her. She does her best to try to keep it in, but she did well the second time, didn't she? But her foot had already touched the try line.
I was going to say the first time I think it hit.
Brought the ball out right.
Bet she's good on the dance floor with those moves.
Yes. It did look like a tough call, didn't it, against Oxford off the kick-off. Second time a knock-on, potentially not being picked up.
Well,
make sure you stay bound,
Cambridge have had an attacking platform like this before, and it's worked well for them. Another opportunity perhaps for them to start really piling the pressure here on Oxford. Spurs in net. Donaldson. Back down the line, Middleton. She manages to get the ball out to the far side. This time it's Nichols. Nichols still going. She's going to be tracked down. Stop 3 metres short. Great turnover there by Dabrowski. She has to run it out of play in the end.
Good stuff. Yes, good.
He's a real machine there, Dabrowski. Managing just to help close that one down.
Yeah, Cambridge did well, really worked the ball into open spaces, and Violet Smart just got pulled in, leaving the space on the outside. But Sophie Trott, we know she's good in those cover positions.
There we go. The initial tackle coming in by Trott, and in the end stolen by Dabrowski. There's also going to be a change here. Coming off for Oxford is Hannah Cooper. Coming on is Susanna Rees. Rees winning her first blue.
More.
Cambridge, they know exactly where that try line is, and they've got the penalty advantage as well, going around the corner then by Spurs, but it's gone out of play on the far side. They still have the penalty. It's going to be taken quickly by Marks, or she was denied, because Sophie Bean is still down on the ground for Oxford. I think everyone's telling Kate Marks to go, but she can't.
Yeah, the referee's saying down, and up in the commentary box I was doing the same sign as Kate Marks there, the scrum. Surely, if you can't go quickly and your scrum is so dominant and you scored off the last one, then you want to scrummage again. I bet Kate Marks will fancy her chances off the base of this one, won't she?
Well, the last player that Oxford want to lose is their captain, Sophie Bean. She's winning her third blue here today. She's an engineering student. She's at St Edmund Hall. She's actually born in Hong Kong, and a very calm face there of Gary Street. To be fair, though, he very rarely gives away any emotion, does he, during a match? Doesn't matter if when he was coaching England, he was very similar. Of course, Gary Street, if you don't know that name, he was the coach that took England all the way to the top of the world in the 2014 World Cup final. And this was the moment where Sophie Bean went down. You can just see that she just caught herself in a very awkward body position. Looks like she is going to stay on for the time being, though.
No way a captain wants to come off in this position, is there, unless they absolutely have to.
She may have been winded, possibly going down.
Collapsing them all.
There she is. And just confirmation that it is a scrum that Cambridge want. They haven't pushed one over yet, but you do feel it is within their armoury.
Absolutely, and of course within their armoury, just creating a really strong base, holding the back row in and giving Kate Marks that platform again, like last time. The Oxford defence just be guessing at the moment, which are they going to do?
Don't know if you saw that, but Kate Marks was actually licking her lips there in that last shot, waiting to get this ball in. She just had a little look also up on the big screen, knowing that all eyes are on her right now. Right then. Not just about controlled there by Pratt at the base, and it's still going. Kate Marks is just directing them. This is good stuff here by Emily Pratt. And she's holding on to it. Pratt goes round the corner. She can see the line. She wants to get over. Still blue shirts being thrown at her. That looks like it's held up. What a tackle coming in by Pat Metcalf-Jones to deny Cambridge. Try saving, surely.
Not just held up, but ripped out in the tackle. Brilliant, brilliant from her. Kate Marks must have been itching to get her hands on the ball here, but in the end it was Emily Pratt who took it, and there's just too much sideways there, wasn't it? She can see the try line, desperate to get round, and then Metcalf-Jones, what a tackle.
Time off.
Well, as wonderful as that was, all it does is give Cambridge another scrum, and this time it's a little bit closer to the posts.
Time is off.
And there is a lot of Oxford players once again at the moment receiving treatment down on the ground. And when I say there's a lot of players receiving treatment, we always find it mildly amusing when watching Oxford and Cambridge receiving treatment, because there are so many medics in both sides. I'm sure they could treat themselves if they needed to. I've done this. I'm just trying to add them up. In the Oxford starting 15, 1, 2, 3, 4 doctors there. Also one in clinical medicine as well. As De Cruz just gets to her feet there. She's studying clinical medicine. She's at Keble. There's quite a lot of vets out there. I don't mean veterans, I mean veterinary science.
No veterans out there, they're all pretty much under 25.
Well, apparently there's a lot of vets also in the Cambridge squad, and they actually apparently had a bit of a mistake with their hotel booking, and at the last minute in the last week they had to go and find somewhere else to stay, and actually last night they went and stayed at the hotel at Chesington World of Adventures, which they loved apparently, and they've been staying in the Safari Hotel, and they found it very calming. Apparently there was some iguanas they all became very attached to in the hotel lobby.
It's important to be able to relax the night before the game as well, isn't it? So to have something like that to take your mind off the seriousness that is the next day.
Most definitely.
Yeah, perfect.
Well, it looks like for the time being Oxford are going to keep their players on the park for now, and they are ready to go again. Just looks like they will be making one change. I can see Vivian Long is getting ready to come onto the field.
Time on.
So it is going to be Anna Bidgood, who's actually off the field on the far side. She's actually stopped out on the far side. So Vivian Long is going to come on. And it looks like she's going to go straight into that front row at hooker. She's winning her first blue, the maths student.
Crouch. Bond. Set. No,
Marks picked,
it's a slip. It's a reset.
And the referee's going to bring it back. I don't think the girls there in the front row, they've probably got a lot of water in their ears, to be fair. I don't know if they can hear the referee. The man, it was raining earlier, and I'd say the rain's actually just started again. It's very light, misty rain. It's nothing like we saw earlier, but we did have a brief respite in the conditions, but the rain is now back.
Yeah, very difficult when you're in the scrummage to hear anything. Look to the right of Violet Smart. There is so much space along that try line that Kate Marks could choose if Cambridge get a little bit of a wheel on here. The fast footwork that she's got.
And it's Bluebell Nichols also who's stood at the back.
Okay, stationary, use it.
Pratt there. Pratt decides to go. Marks wanted it. She's not going to get it. Pratt's still going. It looked... Did she lose that one over the line? Marks thinks she's gone over and got it the second time, but I think that wasn't controlled there.
Right, if you step back, please.
We don't have a television match official to go to. So, Sue, you can decide this one.
She's going to confer.
Let's have a listen in.
Ball is held up, over, and then dropped forward.
Okay, so we're going back.
Held up first, and then fell forward and tried to place it.
So held up stationary?
Yeah.
Scrum right?
Yes.
Thank you.
I think that was Niamh Hennessy who was making that decision there, and a good decision as well.
Yeah, very, very clear information, wasn't it, that she gave to Sarah Toll. First of all held up, then knocked forward, and that's why when Kate Marks then tries to ground it, it doesn't count.
Time up.
Emily Pratt will be very frustrated there.
Crouch!
It's tight, wasn't it?
She's had a couple of opportunities there. But held up again, another Cambridge scrum. Everyone will be feeling a little bit of deja vu at the moment. This time, Kate Marks, she's not going to give her the opportunity. She gets the pass away. Donaldson gets it finally off to the far side. It's in, it's straight, it's clear, and it's Bluebell Nichols who goes over, and that will be the match now. Time has run out for Oxford. They've still got time to make a mark on this game, but it's Cambridge who are going to come away with the spoils with a 24-point lead with 10 minutes to play.
There was such a clear opportunity there for Cambridge. I was expecting them to try that off the last scrum. They didn't, but they created themselves a little bit more space, loads of space out there, and they made the extra player by bringing Claire Donaldson across, and then it was an easy run in, wasn't it? A really well worked try from Cambridge, worthy of a varsity match.
Well, Bluebell Nichols, just 18 years old, and Jack Baird, well, he is loving his afternoon. Of course, Cambridge had to suffer defeat last year in that 3-0. But this is a tricky conversion here for Alice Middleton, and that one just dies. So it remains 24-0.
Thank you. 3, substitution. Thank you. Smooth.
Well, we're waiting then for the restart then for Oxford. They're now playing for pride here in this fixture. That's a good restart there by Trott. This one definitely been knocked on, and it's a penalty and offside at the same time there from Cambridge, because I think the ball went forward and they then tried to play it. An opportunity then for Oxford to try and salvage something here. Taken on this time by Odgers. Turned over ball straight away. Nothing is going the dark blue way except this penalty.
Not rolling. Not rolling right.
Metcalf Jones. She has not been afraid of contact all afternoon. Loose on the ground. It's not gone backwards though. Haste. Cambridge are really making this tricky. It's like moving through treacle at the moment for Oxford. De Cruz. Bean. And a tackle going in there by Coleman. De Cruz again, well done to her. And that one's gone forward there by Violet Smart, and offside also from Oxford.
Just in front of the kicker, and the kick really didn't go where De Cruz wanted it to either. She wanted a bit more ground on the kick. Oxford just trying things to beat the defence, but it was the kick tackled at the moment she was kicking it, wasn't it, which I think pushed the radar off.
Well, De Cruz there, who she took a great pass there. And this is our Cambridge player who's gone down at the moment, and a bit of a conversation going on. She seems quite calm. They're trying to make a bit of a sling out of her shirt there. It's nice when someone's down injured and they appear to be slightly smiling.
Yeah, very, very chilled about it, isn't she? But definitely hurt.
Okay.
Well, this was the opportunity from the last passage of play. Big hit going in there on Odgers. And then the turnover came. This is where she actually injured herself. You can see she's actually holding onto her arm there down on the ground.
Okay. Girls?
There are no more substitutes for Cambridge at the moment, so they're going to have to play out the end of this fixture with just 14 on the field. Ball goes out onto the far side, and you do just feel that this is a real opportunity for Oxford if they can just find that bit of extra space with only 14 on the field for Cambridge.
Yeah, time to put pressure on. It's a big ask though, isn't it? 24-0 down, 6.5 minutes to go.
Wide open.
Chan. You can see that Graves, who's on the field now. Marks. Graves once again. She decides to go for the boot straight away. Jimson, not been on the field long. Coleman again. Sure, she just shows a shoulder there. De Cruz eventually gets support in from Metcalf-Jones. Graves. That is right round the neck there of Pearce. Referee playing on. Bruisen. Gibson. That's loose, and that's a tackle off the ball, but still going forward there is Nichols. She's got support from Coleman. Marks. To Chan. And that's gone loose down on the ground. It wasn't quite clean there.
No advantage. It's crumbling.
Calm voice coming in now once again of our referee, Sarah Toll. And that was a good passage of play there from Cambridge. They've made a good 20 metres, but again, it just got a little bit too excited towards the end there. Loose ball on the ground and Oxford get it back.
Step back.
But another scrummage. Exactly what Oxford don't want at this point in the game, isn't it?
Well, 5 minutes left to play, and you do feel that Oxford do deserve something out of this. There's been some incredible defensive work from them. A couple of standout tacklers.
The big problem for them this game is they've just played so much, certainly of this half, in their own defensive end of the pitch, haven't they? And you don't win rugby matches when you play the rugby there.
Well, that one's come out of the scrum this near side. Referee will reset.
So out through the tunnel. It's a reset, blue ball.
And that's what should have happened when we saw it in the first half. If you missed that, we did see a sneaky little Cambridge hand coming in the first half to stop the ball coming out. If it's going to go out, you just leave it. Just let it go, and the referee will reset it for you.
No, step back. Step back, White. Crouch. Bind. Set.
Well, Oxford need this ball out quickly.
Back in.
De Cruz there, got her arm stuck almost around her own leg. It's still Oxford who have it. But such pressure coming in from Cambridge once again. They are not giving anything to the other side. They're being ruthless. Metcalf-Jones manages to find De Cruz. Look at that. They're desperately trying to keep that ball up there. I'm not sure if the referee has called that as a maul or as a ruck. She must have said a ruck in the end for Oxford to come away with that. Cambridge, perhaps a bit of frustration there. Hint of that being forward, but referee still happy. Metcalf Jones again. De Cruz is permanently in that first receiving position now. As the American Dobritsky once again. Remember, she's making a varsity debut out there. And it's a strong debut as well. This time it's Simpson.
No, 12.
Well, that was an easy penalty for the referee.
You're coming around on the side. 23.
Yeah,
side entry.
some of them are difficult decisions. That one wasn't. Right round the side.
Okay, ball's gone. Come on.
Jimson just didn't actually look up and see where she was before she went straight back into that.
Thank you.
This time Collis. Just 2 minutes left to play then here in this varsity. Oxford paying for pride here. And it's going to be Cambridge who come away with that one. Marks. Goes at the far side. That one's gone forward there by the captain, Gibson. And that's loose down on the ground. And we'll take this opportunity as they reset the scrum. So Sude, who is your 31st Women's Varsity Player of the Match?
There's been some really good finishing out wide from Cambridge, but for me this match has been all about forward dominance, and so I wanted to plump for one of the forwards, and for me Chloe Withers has been outstanding today. She's been all over the park, putting the hits, and I say all over the park, she's not there right now because she just went off with an injury, but really epitomising the hard work that the Cambridge Packs put in today.
Well, Chloe Withers, there she is. She's down on the subs bench. I think someone's telling her right now, you're the player of the match, Chloe Withers. While she ices her shoulder. Isn't it cold enough already, Dal? There you go, she's just found out. So well done, Chloe Withers, the medical student at Fitzwilliam. Ball comes back, De Cruz then. She decides to opt for the kick. I think it could work nicely if that ball can just pop up. Unfortunately, it doesn't in the end as it comes out on this near side. Emily Bamber was there desperately chasing, but not to be.
Yeah, it was a good option. It just needed to be a bit longer, didn't it? Poor execution. It needed to be further in front of the players running onto it.
Who's in front, Blue?
So a last passage of play then. A final line out in the women's varsity. The Cambridge celebrations have already started.
Thank you.
Samantha Chan goes straight up front.
It's not straight.
Well, I think we could have guessed that wasn't straight. We thought she might have given it. She's going to let Oxford make a choice here. And they are going to take the line out.
That's yours.
Last throw of the dice then for the Dark Blues. They know they're going to lose their varsity title. Slightly pained look there from the Oxford coaching staff. They know what's coming in the next few moments. And that one hasn't gone into Oxford hands, and Marks kicks it out on this near side. The whistle blows. And Cambridge University are the 2017 Women's Varsity winners. They claim back their title to win their 12th varsity since 1988. Well, there'll be a lot of bouncing going on from that group of women, and no doubt their supporters for the rest of the day now. They milled their opponents, which they will be delighted with. It wasn't just about attacking flair, because their tries came from all sorts of different places. It wasn't just backs, it was forwards as well.
Thank you, well played.
But it was a very strong defensive effort. Some real strong tackles going in, and in their second half particular, just look at that. Jo Dabrowski, her playing in her first varsity, it meant so much to her, and she actually put in a really strong shift. But the anguish, she wanted it as much as the ladies bouncing behind her. There'll be another varsity though for Jo Dabrowski, only winning her first blue. She will perhaps get another shot if she is selected in 2018. Jack Baird there. Well, he'll be delighted after his Saracens women's team got that win last weekend, and now his Cambridge University women have got the win during the week. You can just see a little bit of a sparkle in his eyes there. It means so much to him. A different story then for Gary Street, who's actually been asked to show his security pass so he can get out onto the pitch. Jack just talking there, congratulating his side. He's talked a lot in the build-up to this match about how much better it's been for the Cambridge women since they actually got dropped down. And there's our very own Sue Day presenting the Player of the Match award then to Chloe Withers. Born in Cambridge actually herself, although she went to Stockport Grammar School. And there we go, just the Peggers Bunting Award that is given to the Player of the Match. And if anyone doesn't know those names, well, you should do, because the women's varsity started back in 1988 by Oxford's Heather Bunting and Cambridge's Sophie Peggers. They had to fundraise to put the match on. The Oxford women actually laid on a lager night. They had to borrow the men's shirts, while Cambridge, they had to play in a red and blue kit because they weren't allowed to play in the light blue. Well, they're allowed to play in the light blue now, and they're also allowed to play at Twickenham in a wonderful fixture. This was the try then from Jess Gurney. That started off proceedings. Arguably this could be the try of the match. Oxford's decision to feed Middleton. She teamed up with her captain Lara Gibson, who flew off and away. The bounce of the rugby ball was kind. She went straight under the posts. Cambridge weren't finished there though, they had more. Kate Marks was desperate to get involved on the scoreboard, and the scrum half managed to get exactly that. She bided her time, and then eventually everything was finished off. Straight, simple, through the hands, and Bluebell Nichols, she managed to complete the circle. Well, we will now have the presentations here at Twickenham, and there's a very special person who's actually doing the presentations this year. You might know his name. He's called Martin Johnson. There he is. Nice to have him back at Twickenham. We don't always see him there that often at the moment. He's having a nice chat away. And first coming up, famous Twickenham steps will be the officials. That's Sarah Tull, and also her assistants Neve Hennessy and Lou Meadows. I think Martin Johnson will actually be joined by John Spence for some of the presentations. So that's the officials who also were involved. And there is Martin Johnson, the 2003 World Cup winning captain, giving out the presentations, obviously, that nobody really wants when you come and play at Twickenham and play in a varsity. You don't want to be the runners-up, you don't want to finish in second place, but that is what Oxford have to settle for today. Speaking to Gary Street again in the build-up to this, he has been doing the job now at Oxford University for the last 3 years. Oh, they've got a good supply of those under the desk there. And he was looking for a tankard later. And Gary Street did say that women's rugby at Oxford University is now a serious sport. It has really come on. Although they haven't come away with the spoils here today, it is a much changed animal from what it was 3 years ago. A lot of the women here given a lot more time off from their studies to take the sport more seriously. Gary Street having to split his time. He spends Monday, Wednesday and then Saturday mornings at the university. There is Martin Johnson as Cambridge make their way up to receive the Varsity Trophy. So many smiles there. And Cambridge really will be relishing this moment. They came here in 2015 and they won here 52-0. And then last year suffering that 3-0 loss. So for the last 3 varsity matches, the losing team hasn't scored any points. I could be wrong. I think there might be quite a bit of liquid passed through those tankards for the rest of the day if you are a Cambridge player. Don't forget, of course, that the men's match will be coming up here later. Men's varsity, kick-off at 3 o'clock, build up on BBC Two from 2:45. Well, here's the moment that Oxford will have to watch on and see as Lara Gibson is making her way through to receive the Rhino Trophy and the Varsity Trophy. They're making sure they get in the middle. They want this to be picture perfect. Cambridge University, the 31st Women's Varsity winners, beating Oxford University 24 points to 0, winning back the title that they lost last year. Still tears there from the Oxford team, but celebrations continue for the light blues. So one last reminder then before we leave you here on the red button. You can watch the men's 136 varsity match between Oxford and Cambridge, kicking off at 3 o'clock with all the build-up on BBC Two from 2:45 p.m.